Hey guys, it's Lauren from Granite State Yarns. Today we're going to dye Cozy Hot Cocoa. This is the December 2024 colorway for my Aesthetic Yarn Club. Here's my inspiration photo. Let's see what I come up with. Right off the bat here, I decided to go with some blue instead of the gray that's in that inspiration photo. I've done a lot of really neutral colorways for this club and thought that we needed a little bit of color this time. I am adding a little bit of gray here just to kind of tone down that blue a little bit so it's not quite so bright. Now we add our base yarn, kind of mush it around, trying to get the colors a little bit even. I am going to add a little bit more blue, and here I'm realizing that this blue is a bit too dark, so I'm just kind of moving things around a little bit to spread that blue out, and then I'm going off camera to add a bit more water, and now you'll see that the color has gone down in intensity quite a bit. This is definitely much closer to the color that I had envisioned for this project. With all of the added water, the temperature here has gone down quite a bit, and I am using my bare hands in this warm water. It's not that hot quite yet, but it is getting hotter. I do have a lot of extra water in this pan right now, and since I'd like to do some speckling, I'm taking out a bit of the water and putting it in another pan to be used later. And now just mashed everything up on one half of the pan, again, just to get a little bit of that yarn out of the water so when I do the speckling here, we don't have too much bleeding of the dye. Another way that I try to avoid bleeding is by mixing my dye powders directly with citric acid powder, and that also helps, along with heat, to get those colors to strike quickly. If you're watching closely, you may notice that as the dye powder dissolves and sinks into the yarn, that it starts to get a little bit darker. So it's actually kind of fun to watch this as the colors progress. Now I'm adding a little bit of a brown drizzle to the colors that I have here. I wanted to add this in to kind of bring out that hot cocoa sort of color. One thing to keep in mind as I'm dyeing is that the colors are usually quite a bit darker when they're in the wet yarn here. And as things dry, they will become a little bit lighter. So I generally try to keep my aesthetic clubs to be a little bit on the calmer side. I don't like to have big splashes of bright colors the way that I normally do. So I definitely want the colors to show up, but I am trying to keep in mind that they will fade quite a bit as the yarn dries. So I flipped the skeins over, and now I'm just adding a little bit more color to the other side. I did all of my speckling on the first side, and over here I'm just going to be putting a few of these drips here. This is a good way for me to use up some of the extra dye powder that I had. Now I'm just kind of nudging things around with my chopsticks, just making sure that all of the dye is getting taken up into the yarn, making sure that we don't have any more dye left in the water. And with that, we are finished with our main colorway. So let's dye some contrasting minis for this club. Now, to contrast that pretty delicate blue main colorway, I decided to go with a brown mini for our contrast color. I thought this would be nice to really bring home that hot chocolate sort of vibe here. And I also really like the way that brown and blue look together. So I wasn't quite sure exactly how dark I wanted this brown to go, so I'm going to be taking it a little bit slowly here and just adding a little bit more brown layer by layer until I get the color that I'm comfortable with. I also really like this process of going slowly, taking it step by step here, because it really allows me to be able to control my colors and how they look on the skeins. I'm still not quite happy with the color that I have right now, so I'm adding more brown. I think originally I had a bit of a kind of a golden brown color here, and now I'm adding a little bit of a cooler kind of color. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of nice color variation here. Still not dark enough. At this point, I've pretty much decided that I'm happy with the color, and now I'm just taking whatever cups I had that still had little bits of dye left in them and just kind of rinsing them off. Again, I like to make sure that all of my dye gets used. Now I'm just going to let these minis simmer for a little while and let them soak up all that color. And here we are with the finished product. I've also got some close-ups here so you can see those really pretty speckles. I really like this one. So if you like this yarn and you like these simple colorways, please feel free to join the Aesthetic Yarn Club by going to granitestateyarns.com. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for watching. It means so much to me. Happy knitting and crocheting, and I'll see you in the next one.